Well, it's that time of year again. We are approaching iPhone season and the leaks will begin. And the leaks directly from factories in China have begun, as is evidenced by this package. Let's find out what the iPhone 12 might look like. Now, a little backstory here. Every year, factories in China start making dummy phones. Now, they do these based on leaks, they do this based on sources, they do this out of speculation. Who the hell knows? But I've got to tell you, for the last few years, they've been getting it very right. This was the iPhone 10, and it was bloody spot on. It's not perfect, it's a very kind of ugly-ish mock-up in terms of the chrome looks a bit naff, the front looked horrible, but size is what matters. These are the devices, these are the little plastic mock-ups that case manufacturers use to get themselves ready for the next iPhone. So iPhone 10, pretty spot on. And then there was the iPhone XS, and there was the Max version, there was the R, the 10R. Again, spot on dummies. Now these literally fit into the cases made for those. Last year, we got that little step forward, that little change. It was like, wait a minute, what's this ugly camera bump? Now, they didn't nail the camera bump because the black box never existed on this coloured phone. We had the colour matching there. But again, shape and size, spot on. Here, the dummy. Here, the real thing in terms of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Same with the 11. Standard iPhone 11, iPhone 11 dummy. Now, look at that. Horrible, horrible camera bump. They didn't get that right at all because the colour was different, but they did get right the number of lenses and the position of the lenses, which again is critical because if you're building a dummy, you want it to look right. You want those camera bumps to match up, you want the camera lenses to match up for any holes you're leaving. These are all critical things in the development of a case. So, let's have a look what we think 2020 is going to be. 3 dummies means 3 phones. Hey, there could be another one, there could be more. And what I'm seeing here is something just called a 12. Then there's a 6.1 and a 6.7. So I think that might be slightly larger screen for the Max, but essentially the same step up. Your standard Pro phone, let's have a look. Interesting. This is a very different look, and I expect them all to look the same. It'll be hard to see there, but I'll give you another shot. Straight edges. Very similar straight edges to the iPad Pro. The mid-size and the big beast. Now what's interesting most here is that according to these dummies, there's a slight change in the step up. So it was the case that the iPhone 11 Pro was the smallest with the triple lens. The iPhone 11 sat in the middle with the dual lens, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max sat at the top with the triple lens. Now if these dummies are to be believed, there's only 2 lenses on here on the smallest one, which means the iPhone 12 Standard Basic Edition is a dual lens camera with this new look. I don't mind that idea. So what you've got is you've got 2 Pro versions and they are vastly different in size, but they have this huge camera array. And I'll tell you also, the camera array, just at a glance, looks much bigger. It looks bigger on the iPhone 12, wider on the iPhone 12 than it does currently on the iPhone 11 Pro. But the number one thing here is this smooth edge, hard edge, not the rounded edges you get on your current iPhone. So you're familiar with this rounded edge. We've had that since the iPhone 6. The iPhone 5S was the last one to have these flat edges, the 5, the 4, the 4S before it. So we go on from rounded edges on the original iPhones up to the 3GS, flat edges on the 4s and the 5, rounded edges on the 6, the 7, the 8 and the 10s and the 11s. And now we're going back to a flat edge, and I think it looks good. I think it's a good new look. But the critical difference there is this step up in size changes. I always said to anyone who asked, if you're looking for an iPhone, just get the iPhone 11. This is a cracking good phone. Dual lens camera, widescreen, it's a good size, and it was the most affordable. So could it well be that doing that same thing and putting it in the smallest possible package will give us a more affordable phone? I think that's what people want, a slightly more affordable iPhone. We have the SE, it's great, but let's bring this in at $999 Australian. That's a good point. let's see what happens. But that is what we can tell from these dummies. Hard, flat edges, Pro and Pro Max having the triple lens cameras and there being the middle and the largest size, and the standard 12, a dual lens camera. The big speculation, of course, which one's going to be 5G? Who the heck knows? Most likely, just the Pro models. But all in all, a very nice new look, and I think will be well received by people. Whether or not Apple can meet its normal September timeline for both announcement and delivery is a very big question based in the COVID world as to whether that pandemic is really upsetting their supply chain and manufacturing. More details as the leaks roll through over the months ahead at EFTM.com.